orange eggs, with orange bagel, with orange cheese, with orange juice. Hello everybody and welcome back to Soulveyor devlog number 12. I am going to try to speedrun this week's progress as fast as I possibly can. Because this week was mostly me cleaning up a bunch of bugs, fixing some backend things, and cleaning up what I've been working on the past couple days. I ended up cleaning up the vertical movement a little bit, so now that when you walk downstairs, you can no longer fall off the layer that you're currently on. Because you previously would, when you're walking down the stairs, you would still kind of gradually float a little bit. So I basically made the player snap to the floor. It still needs a little bit of work because as you see, when I initially walk up the stairs here, there's a little bit of resistance on the bottom step, like the first step, and there's also a little bit of resistance on the top step. As you can see, it's like a little bit. Yeah, and then I have to go up the last one. So that's just a numbers thing. I'll just have to tweak those values and see what feels the best. I also, as you can see, ta-da, look at the background. There's a nice little gradient here applied. When you look over the edge of the map, that's what I started working on. Parallax, I started implementing the parallax. So you get this nice little gradient towards the top of the sky, it's blue, and then as it gets closer to the bottom, it gets more white, symbolizing like the atmosphere. This also changes with the time of day. So when it hits sunset, there will be a nice orange gradient all the way to nighttime, where there's this nighttime gradient as well. So that's really cool, and this is all a part of the parallax system, which is right here. Okay, it is very scuffed right now because I'm currently testing infinite snapping with the mountains and the clouds that I imported here. I made these a couple streams ago, I think. But what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that it infinitely tiles in both the X and Y direction for whichever I determine. I'm just making sure that the mountains, for example, infinitely tile in the X axis. So I basically just make the mountain sprite as big as the screen and offset it a little bit. And then whenever the player reaches the edge of the mountain gets placed back over here, which creates this infinite seamless parallax loop. And parallax gets much more in depth depending on the objects that I am adding to this effect. Like mountains, for example, these mountains right here, let me disable the clouds. This is just a simple example. You know, the mountains will infinitely tile perfectly. You'll never see the mountain end anywhere. But for something like clouds are a bit different. You don't just have this infinite string of clouds hooked after each other. Because a cloud might just be one simple object that moves, or another one that moves as well, or another one that moves as well, or another. So there's a little bit more logic involved depending on which parallax object is being displayed. Like for example, if I decide to add like a sun and moon cycle, that will be its own separate object with its own separate logic. But basically, long story short, if, for example, the camera moves 10 units to the left, the parallax moves 10 units to the right. See, as I move left, the clouds move right. I also have a distance variable, so depending on the theoretical distance that those clouds are away from the camera, their movement speed will be multiplied by that value. So if these have a value of 0.5, and I move 10 units to the left, they will move 5 units to the right. And that gives it the illusion of depth. So that's what I've been working on this weekend. Ooh, it's nighttime. I'll see if I can finish this up and I will see you in the next devlog. Bye everybody.